So today we are going to be creating some fun, colorful Wayne Thiebaud inspired ice cream cones. So to start us off, you are going to need a white piece of paper and a pencil. Now, for my ice cream cones, because I'm going to be making 3 of them, I want my paper to be horizontal so that I have space for all 3. If the paper is vertical, I'm not going to have enough room across it to make my 3 ice cream cones. So make sure your paper is horizontal, side to side, a little bit wide. And for the ice cream cone shape, we are going to be making a triangular shape with a little bit of curve to it to give it the illusion of that cone. So I'm actually going to start my first one in the center, and then I know how much space I have for my other 2. So to start the ice cream cone, I'm going to start the top of the cone here, kind of in the middle of the paper, because remember, we're leaving room for the ice cream scoops up at the top. So I don't want it to be too tall and then not leave enough room for my ice cream. So I'm going to make this kind of light curved line, and then I'm going to bring them down to touch to make the cone. So I'm going to do this 2 more times. Okay, so now that I have my 3 cones drawn, now I want to make some scoops of ice cream. Of course, you can decide how many scoops of ice cream that you want for each of your cones. Is it a 1 scoop, 2 scoop, 3 scoop? You can kind of really do that whichever way you want. What I did for mine was I did 2 scoops on the ends and then 3 in the middle. So really, my friends, you can choose how you want to make your scoops. So to make the scoop shape, everybody thinks it's a plain kind of rainbow curve, but ice cream is a little wavy and more lumpy and glumpy than that. So we want to make these lines kind of a little curved as I'm coming around my ice cream cone. I'm also going to make it kind of go over the edge of my ice cream cone just to show that it's a little bit bigger. So I am going to kind of follow in that rainbow line, which I like to call, or another word for that is a half circle. But as I said, I'm going to make my line a kind of a little wavy. So I'm going to come out a little bit, and then it doesn't have to be super wavy, but just a little bit so that it looks a little bit more natural. It's not perfectly straight lines. Then I think for this one, he's going to be a 2 scooper. So to make the second scoop, I'm going to do the same step that I did here, just maybe a little bit smaller as it goes up. There we go. That looks like a great ice cream. Okay, so then I'm going to repeat the steps for my other 2. And again, however many scoops you want is perfectly fine and up to you. Okay, so you can see that I have done 2, 1, and then that's a 3 scooper. So it got really, really tall there. And if it starts to lean too, that's perfectly okay, guys. The taller the ice cream, the more it starts to fall over, right? So then I want to think about, what do I want to put on top of my ice creams? Do I want a cherry? Do I want some whipped cream? What other things might you put onto your ice cream that you think is delicious? Are you somebody who puts gummy bears on their ice cream, or are you a sprinkles person? Kind of up to you what you decide to put. I think for my middle one, I'm just going to give him a nice big cherry in the middle. And to make a cherry, I'm going to start with a circular shape, and I'm going to let it overlap, which means to go on top. But I'm going to erase that middle line there. So it looks like the cherry's on top. And I'm going to kind of make it dip down a little bit. And then of course I got to make a little stem for my cherry. And I'm going to draw a little curve here to make the shine, where my cherry's going to shine. All right, so adding other things on top of them. You also want to think about flavors. What flavors are your ice creams going to be? Is it going to be mint chocolate chip? Is it going to be strawberry? Is it going to be just chocolate? Are you going to have swirls in yours? Maybe it's like it's a mix of colors. Or, oh, I love the rainbow ice cream, or like the sherbet ice cream that has like the swirls in it. So if you have any of those details, you want to go ahead and draw them before we start to color. So I think for my cherry one here, I'm gonna go very traditional. I'm gonna leave this one as a chocolate. So I'm not gonna have to draw anything extra in my ice cream, but I'm gonna save it. So for this one, I think I'm gonna have this one with some swirls. So I'm just gonna draw some long curvy lines that just like they're going through the ice cream a little bit. And you can make your different scoops different flavors too, which is really fun to do. So maybe like when I do this one, this one's gonna be like a sherbet. So this one might be orange, and then this one might be like pink or raspberry sherbet. So adding some swirls to that one. Maybe for this one, I want some chocolate chips. So I'm gonna make some little rectangles that look like chocolate chips, because Mrs. Olvera loves mint chocolate chip ice cream. It is super yummy. So I'm gonna make those little pieces. Maybe I want the next scoop to be strawberry. So I'm gonna put some little kind of funky shapes. That'll be the chunks of strawberry in it. So when I color those, I'm gonna color those kind of like a dark pink color for the dark of the strawberry. And then maybe the top one, I think I'm gonna go back to mint. So I'm gonna add some more little chips in there. And my friends, you can have any type of ice cream you want. You could make it different flavors or make up your own new flavors that you could maybe do with them. So once you kind of have your designs, if you're adding them to your scoops of ice cream, we're also going to add the lines to our cones. So this is where we're going to use some diagonal lines. So remember, diagonal lines are lines that go from one end to the other. They're not perfectly straight across or straight up and down. So to do that, I'm going to show it here in the middle. I'm going to start at this top corner, and I'm just going to draw a long diagonal line coming down. Then I'm going to draw a couple smaller ones, because as the cone gets smaller, the line gets a little shorter, coming across going that direction. So they're all coming down this way. Then to make the other side, to make it kind of crisscross, I'm going to start at this corner and do the same thing, except I'm going to come down that way, so that it looks like all my lines are crisscrossing. So you're going to do this for all of your ice creams. Okay, so once you're done with that, it is time to outline. So you know Mrs. Olivera always talks about outlining, just because this is going to make your lines kind of pop, especially when we go to color. So you want to find a black Sharpie or marker or crayon to go ahead and outline with. So I'm just gonna trace those lines that I have already drawn. Now, I'm not coloring anything in with the Sharpie. I am just tracing the lines that I have. Now, when you get to your lines in the middle, if you have a brown marker that you want to use, you can use the brown marker to trace those lines, because a cone shape is going to be kind of some brown and tan colors. So if you don't want to have the black lines on your cone, you can always use the brown to outline it. Now for my chocolate chips here, I can color these in using my Sharpie, because I'm going to make those little squares dark black anyways for the little chunks of chocolate. Now for my other details in my ice creams, I'm actually going to use, again, some marker to color those in instead of the black Sharpie, just because of the color that I want them to stay. So like my strawberry here with my strawberry chunks, I'm going to take a pink marker and I am going to just kind of color those in with my pink marker. As I said, if you don't have marker, you can use crayons or anything that you have. If you have watercolors or colored pencils, some people prefer to use. Again, my friends, it is your choice. It is your artwork. Okay, let me grab some orange for my other stripes here. Okay, now once I am done with that, I want to go in, and if I have any pencil marks that are showing, I can take an eraser and just get rid of those pencil lines that I really don't want there anymore. Okay, friends, so once you've kind of outlined and you've got your ice creams ready, now it is time to color them in. So of course you want to color them certain ways based on which flavors they are. So like with this one, for my mint chocolate chip, the color of that ice cream is like a light green, so I used a crayon. So I used a mix of markers and crayons today. So I used a light crayon for the green of my mint chocolate chip. I left this one in the center, a vanilla flavor. For my strawberry over here, you see I've got my strawberry chunks, and then I used a lighter pink for the background. Chocolate, my kind of orange swirl, and my raspberry swirl there I've got colored. I also, for the cones, took a lighter brown to color those in. Remember, when you're coloring, guys, just make sure you're pressing down so that you're filling in all of your white space, unless you're meaning to leave it, like my swirls here or my vanilla ice cream. But press down so all the white spots get covered and it's showing up really nice and dark. Then for your background, you can choose however you want to do this. If you like all the colors for your ice creams, you want to leave your background white, that's fine. If you feel like it needs a little bit more color, you can add either crayon to it, marker, or I took some watercolors and just did a simple watercolor background just using one plain color. It just kind of makes my ice cream colors stand out a little bit more and kind of pop. And that's the whole idea of behind Wayne Thiebaud's art. It is called pop art, and we are focusing in on everyday treats that people would love to eat. So I hope you enjoyed. I can't wait to see what you create.